Good morning. This is going to be episode 1 of rebuilding the Enhanced Superman. I'm just on the way down, well, not straight to the gym, but we have to pick somebody up first. I've got the beautiful Anya as my camera woman this morning. She's got some good experience with that, so I asked her for some help with kicking this experience off. We're looking at getting some videographer on board at some point over the next couple of weeks as we document all of this. Trying to get used to talking to a camera like a dickhead when it's 6:45 in the morning and there's people getting ready to go to work, probably watching me going, who's this sap? But you got to get past all that. So next you'll see is me handing the camera off to Anya.
It's all about humanity.
So like I said, on my way to pick up Anya, I can see her, she's sitting and she's waiting outside. So we'll do the old camera hand off and then she's going to record me while I chat some shit and tell you what the plans are. My beautiful camera woman for the morning.
That's very close first thing.
She's sleepy. So there may be some really cool transitions at the beginning of this that look all fancy with me moving really fast down the road, because we may have had a little camera setting issue where our first bit of recording has no audio because I'm in hyperlapse super speed, but we get on with it. These are trials and errors at the beginning of a YouTube series. The plan is that I am getting back to being a bodybuilder. The past 18 months with, let's call it, the flu period of time in the world. I'm not going to use the word and get the video flagged on my first video, but you all know what I'm talking about. Caused me to have my first time ever of not being focused on training and not being a bodybuilder. I was sitting at about 210 to 215 pounds for a couple of months before the special time hit. I'm now sitting at about 190. So I've dropped about 20-25 pounds. We need to put that weight back on so that I can get back on stage. So right now, I'm looking at documenting the next 12 weeks to show you guys what it takes to create a bodybuilder. So where we're going right now is heading to the gym for day 2 of my overarching program, which is a 6-day split of push-pull legs, repeat, with no rest in the middle. Because as the name suggests, the Enhanced Superman, I am enhancing my recovery, which we'll talk about briefly on this video, but I don't want people to get confused and think bodybuilding is completely about drugs. It's definitely a part of it, but it shouldn't be your primary focus. What we're mainly focused on right now is getting meals in and hitting the sessions. Without them. So I don't want this to be a boring ass video where I just stand here and I'm gonna eat this, I'm gonna eat that, I'm gonna train this exact exercise. You'll see that over the course of the 12 weeks and we'll give some details. In terms of starting out calories and macros, I'll put them just here. Hopefully we do a fancy edit and something pings up and shows you all the numbers. But it's roughly going to be just under 4,000 calories to start me off, because although the past couple of months I've not been consistent with eating a shit ton of food, for where I'm at and where my metabolism works, we'll explain it in a later video as to why I'm starting with such high calories, but that's where we're starting. Our push-pull legs training split, it is push-pull legs, but it's not like your traditional powerlifter type push-pull legs. It's a bodybuilding focused one that you're going to be very interested to see. Today's pull session, well, you'll see it when it pops up. But the bit that I'm sure a lot of people are very curious about is the side of drugs. So I said I'm going to be very candid and open about that. Nothing super fancy. We're going to do 300 milligrams of testosterone and Ante a week, split into 2 doses. We're going to do 300 propionate, split into 3 doses. Every week for the first 5 to 6 weeks, depending on blood work. There is so many other magical compounds you can throw in. People know about them. There's other special tricks we can throw in if weight starts to stall. But to put it in context, the past 18 months compared to the usual bodybuilding blast and cruise life, gyms haven't been open, so I haven't been smashing cycles, I haven't been doing any of that. So jumping from baseline up to 600 milligrams of testosterone a week, I will get quite a response and put on a reasonable amount of weight again just from that. So we're not going to throw those numbers up too high too quick. But that's enough chit chat from us for now. Next thing you're going to see is us in the gym.
Obviously. Check that out.
Travel. 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 Take it to the next level. Take it to the next level. Take it to the next level. Take it to the next level.
It's that first not really a set that you saw me bail out of when my wonderful camera woman was trying to get you all the views from the booty. I was not very stable in positions. My hamstrings are bollocks from the last day, but I was deadlifting and training hamstrings. So what do we do when you're unstable in a position? We add more weight, because bodybuilding. So morning pole session is done, completed. Today's focus, as you will have seen, is on thickness because we did a lot of rows. Anya apparently was focused on recording the booty quite a bit, but I think you'll appreciate that. So first week of the 12 weeks began, not complete, because second day in. I didn't have Anya around yesterday to record the post session that I did, but we'll start to see as the weeks go on, as my training progresses, numbers returning to normal. And I guess next thing you'll see is me in the studio where I'm going to chat through my food strategies a little bit. So I'll see you guys then. So we're going to try and get this part all in one take so I don't have to re-record it. All the other parts of the video were also all in one take. Don't think that I multiple shot all those things to make it look so slick. You may notice different beard, slightly different hair. This video is being shot a little later than planned, so I had a haircut since that. What we're going to talk about now is just quickly running through the food strategies on this plan of rebuilding and getting back my Enhanced Superman bodybuilding physique. So I have a little handy dandy notebook with all the macros, all the numbers, all the stuff that some people watching this might find boring. You might not. I'll ping up some of the numbers on the screen for clarity. Well, actually, I've already got the numbers on the screen earlier in the video, so this is just going to give you a bit more detail in case you want it. I'm going to be on 4,016 calories, so let's call it 4,000. We're at 388 on protein, 485 on carbs, and 58 on fats, as you will have seen earlier in the video. And the way that's going to be broken down is into 7 meals. Breakfast, in my humble opinion, for everybody, even if you're looking to gain weight, should be a carbless meal. Just from the perspective that it sets you up better for the day in terms of response to carbohydrates. Your blood sugar levels are a little bit more likely to be stable It's also a little easier on the digestion after being asleep. Your protein absorption will be a little bit better when you wake up. And that's just my opinion. You don't have to follow it. If you're one of my clients, I probably will make you follow it, whether or not you're looking to gain, lose, improve your performance, whatever it is. I have always found that you'll perform better if the first meal of the day is no carbs. If you do have to train immediately, first thing when you wake up, I'd possibly suggest being fasted. Just from a digestion point of view, you don't want to waste energy digesting when you're meant to use energy in training. If you've had carbs in your last meal of the day the night before, you should be good. So my first meal is 55 grams of protein, 10 grams of fat. For the most part, that's going to be eggs and lean bacon. If I'm in a rush, it's going to be a protein shake and a little teeny bit of peanut butter. Next meal is going to be 55 protein, 80 carbs, 10 fats. Basically every meal has 10 fats. So I'm not going to tell you 10 fat in every single meal. The only one that doesn't is my post-workout, because I want my food to process faster. Because post-workout you want to absorb things as fast as possible. So again, in my humble opinion, for the most part, I ask people to keep fats low or no in their post-workout meal. For my third meal of the day, we're looking at 55 protein, 100 carb. From the perspective that ideally, that's going to be my pre-workout meal. So a little bit higher carb than meal 2. Then meal 4 is the post-workout meal. That could be broken down as it's 55 grams of protein, 120 grams of carbs, and 0 fats. I'd potentially break that down in a protein point of view, where I might have 25 grams of protein, 25 to 30 from a shake. The rest of my protein I will make up in chicken, tuna, egg white, something that's a leaner, faster digesting protein source. The carbs, same thing. I might put 60 grams of carbs into the shake. So I'll have like a bit of dextrose powder, a bit of Atargo, a bit of waxy maize, a bit of highly branched chain sickle dextrin. Depends what I'm feeling. I might put 60 grams of carbs into the shake just for convenience if I'm in a rush and I don't want to try and eat through 120 grams of carbs of rice or potatoes or pasta or oats or whatever I've chosen to go with. And then fill the rest in with a smaller amount of a normal carb. Following that, it's another 100 gram carb meal. So the way I've kind of lined my day up is that my carbohydrates increase as we get close to the workout and then slowly decrease as we get away from the workout. Again, it's 10 grams of fat, 55 grams of protein. Next meal is back to our 80 grams. And then our final meal, the way I've got it worked out currently, is that it's actually got no carbs in it. This is just from a point of view of digestion. I don't have issues sleeping right now because I have cut caffeine out of my life. And I'm in the depths of the Sober October, removing entertainment from my life, removing junk food from my life, and removing caffeine. My sleep is naturally going to be better, so I don't need to utilize carbohydrates to try and knock me out and put me into that carb coma people go into. As well as that, I'm doing 500 milliliters of water with every meal and 1.5 liters during training. My pre-workout currently is going to be 5 grams of creatine, 20 grams of amino acids, 4 grams of some sort of arginine, citrulline malate, pump enhancing product, and 4 grams of beta alanine. I was potentially going to have about 200 milligrams of caffeine in there too, but for now that's not going to go in. I'm also throwing in some arachidonic acid, something from my old days in Enhanced Athlete. It increases inflammation through a pathway of using prostaglandins. I've got a video on that on Instagram. I might link it below. I'm not going to go through the detailed science of it because it's a good 6-minute long video all in of itself. The other thing that may go in to my pre-workout as things start to get spicy and I want to start pushing boundaries a little bit might be a little bit of Anadrol. Oh, I know earlier in the video I said the only thing I'm going to include anabolics wise will be testosterone, which would be 600 milligrams a week. As I said, it's going to be split into 150 milligrams of enanthate twice a week and 100 milligrams of propionate 3 times a week. Some of those shots will be mixed shots, so some will have prop and enanthate in the same one. I schedule it out so that I have the, in my opinion, most stable blood work I could possibly have, because my goal is not to ramp things up really high just for one day. It's to keep them as level and as steady as possible to mitigate any potential side effects. This has been recorded about a week and a half after the first half of this video. So a little update in terms of how I'm feeling after starting into that. I only started at the start of this past week. I'm already feeling a bit of water retention from throwing that back in after so long of not being on that. You might see it on my face a little bit, probably not much. Weight jumped up by 3 pounds this week, which is literally just down to mineral retention and water from having excess testosterone. But what I am experiencing already is lower back pumps in the gym. When you start holding more fluid and start retaining more minerals from starting any form of anabolic, it's a side effect a lot of people can suffer with. It will slowly start to level out once my body adjusts to being back at super physiological doses. But for now, all I can do to mitigate it is make sure I'm doing my biomechanics and breathing that my wonderful partner Anya, who was my camera woman at the start of this video, has taught me all about in order to make sure that my ribcage position is in an optimal position to mean that from a mechanical point of view, there's nothing further aggravating any lower back issues. As well as that is staying well hydrated, throwing in a little bit of taurine into my water as well, and vitamin C just to help things move along. I might do a video on explaining that because it's something a lot of people think they just have to deal with. A lot of people that jump on a cycle end up walking around with a fucking weight belt on them for their entire workout because they're like, oh, my back hurts. It's not meant to hurt. You can fix it with breathing, a little bit of restorative exercise, a little bit of yoga, and addressing your nutrition, because you've got the pain in the back pumps literally because you are holding too much fluid in the wrong places. So anyway, that's where we're at with that. That's the dosage. In a couple of weeks, if I start hitting some stumbling blocks in my lifts or I just want to increase my intensity, I'll potentially be trialing using Anadrol, but in a different way. Derek More Plates, More Dates, a YouTube channel that details very interesting gear protocols and biohacking and all sorts of stuff. Recently did a video where we talked about a study of sublingual application of different oral drugs, not just steroids. The study he was looking at was actually based off estrogen therapy, but they found that you needed a much lower dosage to maintain a much more favorable blood stability level of whatever drug or hormone you're trying to use. So in theory, I wouldn't need to use the usual high doses that most people use when they use Anadrol, which for me in the past, it's caused me issues. It's caused my blood work to go askew in a few different spaces, but it's a great drug. So I don't really want to completely remove it from the table when it comes to bodybuilding because it's a very useful tool for many things. Personally, for me, it's mainly a useful tool for helping bump up my weight, which as a result will then bump up my lifts, allowing me to lift more weight to progressively overload the way that I want to. So when I hit a stumbling block, that could potentially help me bump my weight to allow me to push to be stronger. That's about all for the first video. So I'm about 2 weeks into my journey of 12 weeks of getting my shit together. We've got some footage from earlier in the week to make up the video for next week. I'm very excited to finally get my ass going and get myself on YouTube, but I'm also extremely excited to see my body start to change already. I'm starting to feel like a bodybuilder again. My lifts are coming up. Today I did another pull session, not the one that you saw, and I got to deadlift today because things were feeling good. I was feeling fed, and I ended up pulling 230 for a couple of good reps with no pain in my back. I've not done that in some time. I mean, previously my best ever deadlift was 265 kilo at 80 kilo body weight. I'm now sitting at 90, pulling 230 for a struggly 3. So in my opinion, it's not strong. I used to be strong, but we're getting there. I'll pat myself on the back. And yeah, I am excited about showing our next video. I'm excited about popping these up week to week. And if you're not following my journey on Instagram with Sober October, I suggest you do it. So there'll be a link in the description down below. First time I've ever said that. So if you're enjoying this video, please like, subscribe, comment, share it to all your friends, your granny, your ma, your brother, your sister, your dad, whoever wants to see it. And have a great day. I hope you're all following the same type of journey as I am and trying to be the most jacked human being you can possibly be in the safest, healthiest way possible. Enhanced Superman out.